Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I will be presenting the post-lab discussion for your experiment 5, which is the physicochemical properties of aliphatic and aromatic hydrocarbons. So majority of this presentation is care of Mr. Christian Noel Miranda. So I have just included and modified some parts of it. I will just give you a short background of hydrocarbons with a few of its examples before I will proceed to the experiment data and results. So, what are hydrocarbons? Hydrocarbons are the simplest organic compounds consisting solely of carbon and hydrogen atoms. They form the structural backbone of organic chemistry and serve as the foundation for more complex molecules. Their simplicity lies in the fact that they contain no other elements, yet their structural diversity is immense. Hydrocarbons are the primary constituents of fossil fuels, namely natural gas, which is mostly methane, petroleum, which is a complex structure of liquid hydrocarbons, and coal, which is a solid hydrocarbon with varying carbon content. Hydrocarbons are crucial in energy production, where combustion releases large amounts of energy, also in industrial feedstocks, which are used to synthesize plastics, solvents, pharmaceuticals, and synthetic fibers, and lastly, in transportation fuels like gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel. So hydrocarbons are broadly divided into two categories, namely your aliphatic and aromatic hydrocarbons. With aliphatic hydrocarbons, so these may be straight chained and then branch chained or sometimes cyclic compounds, and these cyclic compounds are for your non-aromatic. Okay, under aliphatic hydrocarbons, there are three types. The first one, which are alkanes, which contain only single bonds and are saturated. Examples for alkanes are methane and ethane. The second type are alkenes, which contain at least one double bond, and the third are alkynes, which contain at least one triple bond. Both your alkenes and alkynes are unsaturated hydrocarbons. Your aliphatic hydrocarbons are generally less dense than water, and their reactivity depends on saturation. Therefore, alkanes are relatively inert since they are saturated, while alkenes and alkynes are more reactive. The second category, which are your aromatic hydrocarbons, contain one or more benzene rings. Examples of these are, of course, the most popular, your benzene, and also toluene and naphthalene. Aromatic hydrocarbons exhibit high stability due to resonance, and they often have distinctive odors, hence they are called aromatic. For other examples of hydrocarbons, we have hexane, which we use in the experiment. Hexane is C6H14, which is a straight chain alkane with 6 carbon atoms, as you see there on the structure or figure on the lower right side of the slide. So it is a saturated hydrocarbon which contains only single bonds. For the physical properties of hexane, it is actually a colorless liquid with a slightly disagreeable gasoline-like smell. It is less dense and insoluble in water, but miscible with many organic solvents. It is also nonpolar, making it effective for dissolving nonpolar substances. With its chemical properties, hexane is highly flammable, where its vapors can form explosive mixtures with air. Hexane is used as solvent in extraction processes and common in laboratories for chromatography due to its nonpolar nature. For toxicity, Hexane is known to be neurotoxic, where chronic exposure to it can cause peripheral neuropathy, and that is nerve damage leading to muscle weakness and numbness. Inhalation of its vapors can also cause dizziness, headache, and nausea. And then another example for your hydrocarbons is acetylene or C2H2. Acetylene is a linear molecule with a triple bond between the two carbon atoms. It is the simplest alkyne and is unsaturated. For its physical properties, it is a colorless gas with a faint garlic-like smell, which is sometimes described as sweetish or sweetish, sweet. So acetylene is lighter than air, allowing it to disperse quickly. It also has limited solubility in water, but is highly soluble in acetone, which is why acetylene is stored or kept in pressurized cylinders containing acetone and some porous material to stabilize it. So acetylene is also highly flammable, therefore it ignites easily and burns with a luminous, sooty flame due to incomplete combustion and high carbon content. And then the last example is your xylene or C8H10. So xylene is another hydrocarbon which is an aromatic hydrocarbon and has three isomers which are ortho, meta, and para. Each of these consists of a benzene ring and with two methyl groups attached to it. Xylene is petroleum derived, meaning it is synthesized during petroleum refining processes. It can also be obtained from the destructive distillation of coal tar, which is a traditional source of aromatic hydrocarbons. It is a colorless liquid with a sweet aromatic smell, although industrial samples may appear to be slightly yellowish in color. It is immiscible in water since it is hydrophobic, but it is miscible with acetone, ethanol, and other organic solvents. Xylene also burns with a yellowish sooty flame, which is also due to incomplete combustion and high carbon content. Um, so now we go to your experiment data and results. These are the results which you should have obtained during your actual experiment. So for the physical tests, first we have solubility and miscibility of hydrocarbons, which are hexane and benzene in water. So for the physical test or for the solubility and miscibility of hexane in water, hexane is actually insoluble and immiscible in water because hexane is a nonpolar hydrocarbon and water is polar. They are immiscible and form two distinct separate layers, with hexane floating on top due to its lower density. Hexane cannot form hydrogen bonds, causing it to separate from your water. Meanwhile, for your benzene, benzene is generally considered or also generally considered insoluble in water as it is a non-polar hydrocarbon while water is polar. So almost the same as hexane. At 25 degrees centigrade, its or 25 degrees Celsius, its solubility is very low, which is approximately at 0.18 grams per 100 ml only. Due to its non-polar nature, benzene cannot form a hydrogen bonds in water, the same as for your hexane, resulting in immiscibility where the benzene also floats on top of the water due to its lower density. Okay, so for solubility and miscibility in water, both your hexane and benzene are insoluble and immiscible in water, generally because hexane and benzene are nonpolar while water is polar. Remember, for the principles or for the principle of solubility or miscibility, like dissolves like. Now, since for this second part, so since ethyl acetate was not available in the laboratory during our experiment, I am just going to discuss this part theoretically. So for the solubility and miscibility of hydrocarbons in ethyl acetate, hexane and ethyl acetate are completely miscible in all proportions at room temperature. They act as a miscible solvent mixture in many applications due to the nonpolar, waxy, and carbon chain nature of your ethyl acetate molecule that allows it to dissolve freely into the oily nonpolar hexane. So both of them are nonpolar, therefore they are soluble and miscible with each other. And then for your benzene is also highly soluble and miscible in ethyl acetate, as both are common organic, nonpolar to moderately polar compounds that form a homogeneous mixture. So ethyl acetate acts as an effective solvent for aromatic compounds such as your benzene, ensuring that they readily dissolve into it without limitation. So for this one naman, since your ethyl acetate is considered as nonpolar, so hexane and benzene are also soluble and miscible in ethyl acetate. Okay. Next, for the chemical tests. For the chemical tests, we have the reactions with potassium permanganate and concentrated sulfuric acid. Both hexane and benzene exhibit no reaction with potassium permanganate. Why? Because hexane or your C6H14 under normal conditions, including in both acidic and basic solutions, do not react with potassium permanganate. As a saturated hydrocarbon, hexane lacks the carbon-carbon double bonds necessary for oxidation by potassium permanganate. The purple color of the potassium permanganate solution remains, demonstrating its inability to react, while immiscibility causes them to form separate layers. Being nonpolar, hexane cannot dissolve the polar potassium permanganate, resulting into two distinct layers. Meanwhile, for your benzene is inert to potassium permanganate, and therefore it does not react with it, even upon heating, no, because of the high stability of the delocalized aromatic ring. Potassium permanganate is actually a strong oxidizing agent, but it cannot break the resonance stabilized aromatic system, leaving your benzene unaffected. So for your reaction with potassium permanganate, hexane and benzene both exhibit or they have no reaction. Okay, both of them have no reaction for potassium permanganate. Now we proceed to the reactions with concentrated sulfuric acid. So hexane, being a saturated alkane, does not react with concentrated sulfuric acid. It is inert to oxidizing agents and electrophiles under these conditions, resulting in a colorless two-layered mixture where the hexane remains insoluble, often floating on top of the acid. There is no visible reaction between cold hexane and concentrated sulfuric acid, as alkanes are inert to this reagent at low temperatures. The two liquids will form two distinct separate layers, with hexane with a lower density on top, and no color change or heat evolution will occur. Now, for your benzene, benzene reacts with cold concentrated sulfuric acid to undergo or for it to undergo sulfonation, a type of electrophilic aromatic substitution, although the reaction is very slow at room temperature. While sulfonation requires heating, cold or room temperature contact with concentrated sulfuric acid results in a slow formation of benzene sulfonic acid or C6H5SO3H. Therefore, slight heat is produced within the reaction and may form a homogeneous solution. And the last one for flammability. So for flammability, hexane burns with a predominantly yellow, relatively clean flame, often described as a yellow-blue or pale yellow flame, while producing minimal black smoke or soot. As a saturated hydrocarbon, it burns more efficiently than unsaturated compounds, but the high carbon content in its formula C6H14 produces a yellowish incandescent flame. While for your benzene, C6H6, it burns with a highly luminous bright yellow and sooty smoky flame due to its high carbon to hydrogen ratio, which causes incomplete combustion and produces free carbon particles. The intense soot and black smoke are characteristic of aromatic hydrocarbons. It may appear as a light blue flame only if burned under extremely efficient high oxygen conditions. So that's it for the post-lab discussion of your aliphatic and aromatic hydrocarbons. Thank you.